Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Where's Fielder? He's gone to the dogs.
Welcome, friends, to the Gone to the Dogs podcast. One more time, this is Steve Fielder, your host, coming to you. Very glad to have a fellow on the show today that I've wanted to contact for quite a long time. And there's a lot of coon hunters around the country, and we don't get to some of them as quickly as we'd like to, but man, we've got this guy lassoed here today, and we're going to spend about an hour or however long we need to. I'm with Cheyenne Cummings from Seneca, Missouri. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How are you, Steve?
I'm doing good for an old man. I really am. I can't complain, and the Lord's been good to me. Let me see this many years and make a whole lot of friends over the years due to my work. And so I'm just really glad to be able to talk to you. And I tell you what really kind of sparked me and got me off the couch, I guess you'd say, to give you a call was that dog that you've got down there that you call Shaq has been siring some dogs. In fact, one that's been making a lot of noise here lately, and I wanted to talk to you about that. So, all of these kind of things, I think we've got a real interesting conversation that we can share with the listeners today. And I want to just real briefly thank the people that make this podcast possible. That would be Buddy Woodbury out at W Hunting Supply, dusupply.com. Anything for the hound or the hunter, they've got it out there and give you real good customer service with it. Also want to thank Alpha Dog Nutrition. They're a new sponsor over the last year, and they offer a lot of supplements and just all kinds of nutritional aids and all to help your dog perform to their best ability. And I couldn't do a podcast without thanking my buddy Big Mark Zepp with Zepp Predator Calls. Mark has been a long-time supporter. So, with the sponsors all taken care of, Cheyenne, let's talk about you just a little bit now. How old are you, young man?
I'm 52.
52. You're just a pup.
I wish.
Oh, I'd love to see 52 again, buddy. I really would. What do you do do you have a day job or do you just
Yes,
coon
I work
hunt?
I've been at Lazy Boy Furniture Factory for going on 30 years.
Oh, well, how about that? Well, my boy here back about a year ago, he told me he was waiting on new furniture. They'd ordered new furniture for the house, and it was all coming from Lazy Boy, he said.
Yep.
So, that's great. That's great. I didn't think about them being out there in Missouri.
We're one of the biggest plants.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's great. Well, those old years click by pretty fast.
They go real fast. Yes, they do.
Yeah. Well, were you born there in Seneca?
Yes. Yeah, I've lived here my whole life.
Okay. Well, somebody asked me one time, said, "You been a coon hunter all your life, Steve?" And I said, "Well, not yet." But
that's a fact.
Well, I guess when we met, I guess when I was with PKC. Would that have been right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then, of course, here a few years ago, a fella that you know from over there in Oklahoma by the name of Lane Denny, you know Lane.
Yes, no Lane Good. We're good friends, yes.
I know you are. And he mentioned you quite a bit when I did a podcast with him back right after he'd won the UKC World Hunt with Emmy.
Yes.
And Fine young man. I got to meet Lane personally at Autumn Oaks and visit with him and all. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Lane's a good guy.
Right. Well, I tell you what, the state of Missouri is kind of in my background. My dad was a pipe fitter, but he moved the family over to Charleston, Missouri, over in the Boot Hill, over in the southeastern part. He was building a plant over there in Kentucky where they diffused uranium for the atom bomb. But anyway, I remember hunting, going with my dad in those big river bottoms over there. Of course, that's on the eastern side, and that's a whole lot different kind of country over there, isn't it?
Yes. Where I live, I kind of live in the rolling hills, more farm ground. Now you can go west of me and you're in pecan bottoms, and you can go north of me, and it's just like hunting in Illinois.
I got you. Yeah, well, you got a good variety of hunting.
Yeah, I can hunt about anything you want to hunt.
Yeah, that's good. Well, how'd that coon hunting bug bite you? When did that start for you?
Oh, my dad coon hunted, and all of his uncles on both sides coon hunted. So
yeah,
I don't never remember not having a hound.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, from that part of the country that you're from, there was a guy that wrote for years and years and years for Full Cry magazine, O.L. Beckham. Did you ever know of him or hear of him?
I knowed him. Yes, I knowed him from a little kid till he passed away. I actually live about 3 miles from Beckham.
I'll be darned. Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when my brother was working out there for a brief period in a church out there, that he went out and met Mr. Beckham and sat around and listened to some of his stories and stuff.
Yeah, he was a good storyteller.
Oh boy, I read everything he wrote in Full Cry. I think I read it.
Yeah, he's on page 81 and 82 every month.
There you go. There you go. Well, I kind of cut my teeth on Full Cry as a kid, and American Cooner, and anything I could read about a coon dog, But
yes,
yeah. So you got started out pretty early. Was it with Walker dogs?
No, yeah. Well, my dad, he'd hunt anything, and then when my later teens, early 20s, I hunted blue dogs mainly.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I lived pretty close. A lot of people, blue dog guys, would know him, Corey Mills.
Mm-hmm. I know the name. I didn't know him personally.
I grew up hunting a lot of their dogs.
I see. Well, that part of the world out there, Arkansas, Missouri, and all, there's a lot of blue dogs there over the years.
Yes. Yeah. There's quite a few blue dog guys still yet.
Oh, okay. Well, that was kind of the way it was with me over in West Virginia. We had a fellow named Kelly Bragg that bred blue ticks, and there was a lot of them. And then the Vaughn bred dogs were pretty popular in that part of the country. And I was fortunate to meet Albert Vaughn at Pine Bluff years ago, and probably at Hope, Arkansas, too. But,
I don't live too far, a couple hours from the Uchman boys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I run into Gary occasionally out at the White River Refuge.
Yes.
He'll be down there hunting, and I was fortunate to meet all those brothers at one time or another, and their dad, when I'd go to those blue tick fall roundups, that was back in my UKC days and all.
Yes.
But, well, it's a small world. Well, what are some of your earliest remembrances of coon hunting as a kid? Did you?
When I started out, my dad, he hunted a lot with his uncle, and they walk hunted, but it's a wonder I wasn't burned out. When they started hunting, they'd start walking, and you'd start at dark during season. It'd be daylight when you come back to pick up. They'd hunt all night, build fires. And, if they treat a bend tree, they'd chop it down. They didn't leave nothing. It's changed. It's changed a lot from then till now.
It sure has. And I grew up that way, too. Back in those hills of West Virginia. We didn't have very many coon at all. And and we did lots of walking, for sure.
Yeah, that's the way it was here. Didn't have many coons. But, it seemed, which I was little, but it seemed like they treat quite a few coons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the word was, that Missouri was just full of coons.
Yes.
And I guess down through the years that has been true. My dad had some friends that lived around Columbia, Missouri, and then
Yes.
over the years, that area always had a lot of coon, I think.
Yeah, they still got a lot of coons up, north of Columbia and stuff. There's still a lot of good hunting.
Oh, that's good. Well, you still have places that you can hunt. Is it getting tough to find a place to cut a dog loose?
Yeah, right here where I live, I'm pretty fortunate. I've got lots of coon hunting. We can go over in them pecan bottoms, and them bottoms, most of them, 1,500, 2,000 acres, no fences. They'll let you ride your side by sides on them.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh.
Yeah, I saw it. So I'm lucky. I still got a lot of coon hunting.
Well, good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. I wish everybody did.
Yes, I do too.
Some guys have such a hard time finding a place to hunt. And I retired here in Florida, and it's terrible down here. Everything's leases, and it's mostly deer leases, and it's hard to get in there with a coonhound, and yeah. But man, I just wish everybody had great hunting.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that's what I tell my wife all the time. I'd never move. We don't have the best hunting, but we got lots of it. We can go any night and clear a couple of coons.
Yeah. Well, so you, when did you start competition hunting and getting out there and taking your dogs to town, so to speak?
In my later teens is when I really started hunting. We used to hunt a lot of jackpot hunts when I was younger than that, but really in my late teens when I started hunting UKC hunts and stuff.
Well, I think most people did start out with UKC because that was the most prevalent thing. I think it was in about 73 that Jarvis Umfer started the PCA, the Professional Coon Hunters Association, and later made it, changed it to PKC. Have you been a member of that organization a long time?
Yeah, I've close to 30 years now, probably.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that's great. So you just kind of like the night hunts from the start.
I've always I like competition in anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I started in the competition hunts, I liked it.
Yeah. Well, we're starting to get a thunderstorm here where I am. So if we get knocked out, or if you hear a little rumbling in the background, that's what we're into here. But I live in Florida now, Cheyenne, and I, we get these afternoon thunderstorms, it seems like. But anyway, okay. Well, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. Over the years, you've owned several good dogs. Do you I know that most people are going to associate you with the Backwoods Shack dog.
Yes.
Redneck Backwoods Shack, right?
Yes, sir.
He's a walker dog. How old is Shaq now?
He's 12.
He's 12 already. Wow.
Yes, he's 12 years old.
Well, he has been a phenomenal winner, and I mean, it'd take us probably all of our time just to list all the things that he's won. But just running down the list there, he made the UKC Grand Night Champion Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Which that means he's made Grand Night Champion 5 times.
Yep.
It's tough enough to make it once. And he's a platinum champion with PKC, meaning he's won over 20,000. Do you know what his lifetime earnings are?
Shaq's is only, probably 35,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good piece of change. Okay, I see you won going all the way back 10 years ago, 2014 Oklahoma State champion.
Yes.
And then in 2015, he was the Missouri state leader for PKC. Yes. And then he was in the Nationals. He was a semifinalist in 2016.
Yes.
Am I right? Am I getting this
sir.
right?
No, you're getting them right.
All right. And then he made the UKC top 20 at the World Hunt in 2016.
Yes.
Okay. And then he got third place in the 2017 World Championship.
Yes, that was the one that was at in Georgia.
In Georgia. Oh, yeah, that was at Albert. Was that?
Elberton?
Elberton, Georgia. That's kind of a crazy place for a world hunt, didn't you think?
Yes, it was. Yeah, yes.
Well, I can say that because I wasn't with UKC at the time.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good choice for the world hunt, but it all worked out.
Yeah, it tends to do that. If we'll just, take a deep breath and move on. So anyway, he got third place there. That's not too shabby at all. And then at the boat, as we call it, I guess it was at the boat in 2018. You were the senior. You made the senior showdown truck hunt final four with him there, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he was in the final four 3 times.
Wow, at the truck hunt.
Yeah, we never won it, but we was in it.
Well, hey, that's a. You can never underestimate the luck factor in these hunts. Isn't that right? Yeah,
that's right.
Then in 2018, you were the Missouri State champion in PKC.
Yes.
And then Autumn Oaks, that's a biggie. 2019 National Grand Night champion.
Yes, my boy handled him out there for me.
I see. What's your boy's name?
Dalton.
Dalton, that's right.
Yeah, I had a young dog I was hunting out there, and he hunted Shaq.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember that. In fact, I was probably there. Okay, then you go that same year to the PKC World Championship, and you're a semifinalist there.
Yes.
And then you get in the truck hunt Final Four in 2021.
Yes.
Now, that's all the wins I have on my list. Maybe you probably have a lot more.
Oh, that's about all of them, probably. He's done pretty good.
Oh, there's no question about it. All right, now his background. What is he out of?
He's out of a dog called Electric Shock. I'm lying. He's out of a dog I own that's called Redneck Mafia, and Mafia was out of Electric Shock and a Trackman female.
I see. And what was Shock out of? Do you know?
Shock was out of Harry and Mabel.
Okay.
Water Oak Mabel, and Mabel was a full sister to the dog Jess won the world hunt with.
Yeah. The I can't. Not X Junior. X Junior.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And he had that other dog at about that time, that Jet dog.
Yes.
I was thinking it might have been him. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's a pedigree for sure. And well, what about old Shaq? Did you raise him from a puppy?
I raised the litter, or David Grinder raised the litter, and I bought 3 or 4 of them. And I had a litter mate tune that really started a lot quicker than Shaq as far as treeing coons. So I sold Shaq to Greg Minkler and them, and I bought him back when he was about 10, 11 months old.
So Greg owned him for a while.
Yes,
man.
yes.
I've known Greg for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, all right. So how did... tell me about him as a pup, as a young dog, and all.
Shaq was a real wild. Shaq had one of the best smiles you could put on a dog, but he was wild and wanted to run. I'd just drive off and leave him and go on a hunt. But once he went to making trees, he'd have coons, and once I went to roll them out, he pretty much quit all the junk on his own.
They tend to do that.
Yeah, he always had a big motor. Was always really, really independent. And he was very accurate, and I like a dog going to have coons. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I always liked his looks. He's a hound. He's a good-looking dog. I thought.
Yeah, he's a big Shack and hunting shape. Yeah, Shack and hunting shape. Weighed about 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking, and something I want to ask you about as we go along here a little bit later, because you had posted something on your Facebook about where you get your flea and tick medication and so forth. And I want to kind of ask you a little bit about that as we go along. But I noticed you mentioned there that Shaq was an 80-pound dog or so.
Yeah, he's a big dog.
Well, those Walker stud dogs could tend to get pretty good size, you know. And,
Yeah, he's big, and then Stogie, he'll probably weigh 55. He's a little dog.
yeah. Well, it's the old saying is it's not the size of the dog. What is it? It's not. What is that old saying? Something about not the size of the dog in the fight, but it's the size of the fight in the
Fight
dog.
in the dog, yes. Yes.
So yeah, so they come all sizes. My dad always liked a smaller dog, and I always kind of liked a good houndy looking,
That's me. My dad, he likes a littler dog, and I've always liked a bigger dog.
Yeah. My buddy Nubbin Moore from down in Alabama, we talk about that, and he likes a smaller dog, And of course,
Yes.
he was a black and tan man for years. But well, so anyway, so Shaq, when did you first start hunting him in the hunts?
Oh, he was young. I think when he's a year old, not much over a year old when I went to hunting him in hunts.
I see. Mm-hmm. Well, did you have good success with him right off the bat?
Shaq. He started winning early, mainly because he just didn't never care about dogs. He's going to do what he was going to do, and putting him with dogs and hauling just didn't affect. He was a pretty easy dog to haul to the hunts because not much bothered him.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if you can, that's the thing with dogs and young dogs too. If they can just ignore all that other stuff around
That's
them,
it. Yes.
go ahead and do it. And a lot of them can't do that. They can't.
Most of them.
Yeah. Well, you and I know, and I've never hunted with Shaq, but I've heard a lot about him. Those dogs don't come along every day.
No,
you can't just go out there and point your finger at a litter and grab one and say you're going to have that kind of dog when you're done. But has he been pretty healthy down through the years? He's 12 years old, you said.
Yes, he's never had no thyroids, no tit diseases or nothing. I've been very lucky. He's been healthy his whole life.
Mm-hmm. Are you still able to breed him?
Yes, yeah. He's still. Matter of fact, a guy called me this last week. He had his female checked. She's at least got 7 pups.
Awesome.
A female this morning, the guy called, and she's having pups right now. So he's still doing good.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. That's the doggone thing about these hounds. They just don't live long enough.
That's it.
We think, 12 years. That's not much. That's not much time, really.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, he's had to been a lot of fun.
He's been a blast.
Yeah, to be able to have a dog that pretty predictable, I imagine, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes, sir.
Same dog, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much night in and night out. He does the same stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does he open much on the ground?
Yes. Shaq opens real good. He, an honest company. He's a first strike dog and a really, really good track dog.
Yeah.
The Stogie dog out of him's a little tighter on the ground. He's more of a quarter or 50 strike dog, where Shaq was usually 175.
I got you. Well, we want to definitely talk about Stogie here in a minute, what would you? Well, that's a tough question. It's not even a fair question. I was going to say, do you have a favorite dog that Shaq's produced?
Oh no! I mean, my favorite dog out of him was a dog I got killed at the truck hunt. I called him Shack Attack. As far as the ones I've hunted with, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them I've not hunted with, and there's a lot of these dogs they're better dogs than him. But I like the Shack Attack dog that I got killed down at the truck hunt.
I see. Well, I interviewed Mark Gilmore back, I don't know, a couple months ago, so maybe a little more. And, of course, that Sliding Clyde dog of his. Now, you told me earlier that he's out of Shack. Right?
Yes, he's out of Shack. That's a nice dog. Mark's done a great job with him.
Mark's a great guy. I really enjoyed having him on the podcast, and we really had some good stories, and and all, and just really enjoyed having him. But I could tell, and what he's been able to accomplish, with that dog, that he's got to be the real deal.
Yeah, he's a good dog.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about Stogie, but I'm going to, since we're on Shaq right here, there's another dog that's been making a little noise here around these ProSport hunts here lately, and that's the Tin Cup dog that Michael Ward's hunting. Now, he's out of Shack too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's out of Shack and a female that's out of Tin Man and Wipeout Fuzz.
Okie dokes. Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you know how old the Tin Cup dog is?
He's a 3-year-old. He had his senior super stakes this spring.
I got you. Well, man, he just seemed to come out of nowhere, man, and he's just winning,
Yeah, I had that pup, and I sold him to a boy in Arkansas, Dustin Burdine, and then Ike Rainey and them ended up with him. And then Shable got him, and they had him, and then Michael and them got him bought. John Grimberry had the dog, been tuning him up for Shable and them, and they got him bought, and they went to winning right off.
Did Billy Bell hunt him any, or?
Well, I don't think Billy, I don't think they even took him to a hunt while they had him.
Oh, okay.
Not no big hunts. Now I know John put him in some casts there around him and stuff, but they really never hauled him much. They was getting him ready, and then all that happened, and Michael and them got him bought. Michael's partner.
Yeah. Now I don't know Michael Harris or Will McElveen. I don't know either of those fellows. There was a time, Shy, that I thought I knew just about everybody that ever entered a dog in a night hunt, because I worked for UKC and PKC later than that, and then AKC, and I knew a lot of coon hunters. But there's just an awful lot of them out there now that I don't know.
There's a lot. I'm in a lot of hunts, and there's still a lot of them I don't know too.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about that. Not that, but what you were mentioning earlier. Here's this dog now. All of a sudden, it seems like he can't lose, but yet he was kind of passed around a bit.
Yes.
What happens there, do you think?
I know when Ike and them had him, I don't know nothing, but when Ike had him, Shable and them had an English dog Ike would have been wanting, and that was about what I heard. The only way that they do some dealing was to get that young dog.
I got you. So he's kind of like trading baseball players.
Yes, yeah. And the kid I let have him. He hunts in a few hunts, but he's a hard pleasure hunter. Mm-hmm. And Ike and them heard about it, and I think they just gave enough, for a young guy that's got a family. He had to sell.
I got you. Well, that happens. My dad used to always say, "You got to follow the money." All right. Well, I think the Tin Cup dog just won this latest ProSport truck hunt up at Reed,
Michigan.
Yes,
he did. Yes, last weekend. Yes, he did.
Yeah, and it's a pretty tough cast. Well, I didn't read or follow the play-by-play, but I knew there were some nice dogs in there for sure. So yeah. Well, okay. The one that I imagine that's your current favorite probably out of him is this Stogie dog. Now, let's talk about Stogie a little bit. He's a PKC World Champion.
Yes.
What year did he win that, Shy?
Let me see, 22.
Okay.
I think that's right. It's the same year. Yeah, 22 is the same year we won the world hunt with the UKC with the Jennifer.
That's right.
It was 22.
Yeah, man, I forgot about her. Well, I shouldn't have, but I did. Okay, and Stogie's a platinum champion. For those listeners out there who may not be tuned in to PKC and all, everything's based on dollars earned. And platinum, you have to have at least $20,000 on the dog to be a platinum champion.
Yes.
He's a Grand Night champion in UKC.
Yes.
And I see now, did Ike own him at one time too?
Ike's still a partner on him.
Oh, he's still a partner.
Yeah, Ike Rainey and Ronnie Smith.
Yeah, I know Ronnie Smith very well.
Yes.
In fact, I've hunted several times with Ronnie, and when I first got to know Ronnie, he was hunting the old Silver Dollar Cracker Dog for Daryl
Yes.
Newton, and that Bone hunted a lot. Ronnie Bone hunted a lot. But,
Yeah, Ronnie moved down here by me. Now it's been a long time because Mafia was young. He hunted Mafia at the Russ Myers hunt. He hadn't lived here very long, and he didn't have a dog, and he borrowed him. But Ronnie, he only lives probably 10 miles from me.
you know, I guess I'm behind the times here. I didn't know Ronnie had moved to Missouri.
Yes, yeah, he's lived here, man, probably 15, 16 years now.
I see. Well, he used to run a lot and hunt a lot with Jackie Krumer.
Yes.
And does he live around that part of the country too, or not?
No, Jackie's more over in the southeast corner.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, when my dad was working in Kentucky, I started grade school in Charleston, Missouri, right along the river over there. That's some of my earliest memories of coon hunting were over there.
Yes.
Well, okay, so Stogie was the 2021 Oklahoma State Championship champion.
Yes.
He was the 22 PKC World Champion.
Yes.
He was the 22 Missouri State leader in PKC.
Yep.
And then he won a truck in ProSport. Where was that hunt?
It was at Claremore, Oklahoma. It's about an hour and a half from me.
Yeah, I've been to Claremore. Mr. Rogers up there. What was that fellow that's...
Will Rogers?
Will, thank you.
Yes.
That's kind of up in Lane Denny country up that way, isn't it?
Well, Lane, he lives over by Jay, Oklahoma. It's a little more south.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
So, and then, currently, just this past May, I believe, wasn't it? He won the Missouri State Championship again.
Yes. Yes.
Or won it. He had been the state leader, but he won this championship.
Yeah, he won the state championship.
Well,
yep.
how old is Stogie now?
He'll be 6 in July.
Oh, okay. So he's still got a lot of gas in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still in good health.
So he is out of Shack, and what female did you say?
He's out of a TrackMan female.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know my friend Randy Smith up in Pennsylvania has bred the TrackMan several times and semen and all, and I've seen some good stuff, Can you hear that in the background?
Yeah, I can hear that a little bit.
Somebody's rolling logs around up there, I believe. I hope it don't knock us out, Cheyenne. But do you prefer to be called Shy or Cheyenne, or what do you prefer?
Shy's fine. That's usually what everybody calls me.
Okay, I think that's what your wife called you.
Yes.
I had a phone number, and I ended up getting your wife. But, well, okay, so now this Shack dog has certainly made a name for himself across the country.
Yeah,
and then
been lucky. You got to be lucky to get your pups in the good coon hunters' hands, and we've been very lucky. Some of the best hunters has got the young dogs.
Boy, you said a mouthful right there, because isn't that just the key to a stud dog? If you can do your homework and you can have all the genetics in the world and you can and put the wins on them and all, but if the guys don't take those puppies and register them and pay them up, and all the things that go, and most of all, don't hunt them.
That's it.
It's so disappointing to a breeder, isn't it?
Yep, it is. But we've been lucky pretty much ever since I started breeding Shack. We've always been lucky that good hunters has got a lot of the pups.
Yeah. Has he been an easy breeder? I mean,
Very easy.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Shack's very easy. Yep.
that's great because that can be one of the most frustrating things in the world too. You know, if
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
dog
His
doesn't.
daddy, the mafia dog, was horrible.
Oh yeah,
It was almost a job to get a female bred to him.
yeah, and that takes. You kind of wonder, is this worth it? You know, but
I know it.
yeah, I see. Well, you got call yourself or your team mafia, so that goes back to his daddy, huh?
Yes.
I got you. What kind of dog was he? Mafia.
He was a good one. Mafia is one of them. He started very, very young. Uh, Matter of fact, when I started Mafia, my wife Jennifer was breaking into lead, and we lived down a dead end lane in the timber, and we got some apple trees at the end, and he struck off the lead, and he was only about 4 months old, and she let him loose, and he treated his first coon.
At 4 months old.
And then, and I pretty much from that time on, I never put him with nothing until I put him in hunts.
I got you. Well, that seems to be the formula that works the best. Once they start training them on their own, why would you want them to learn bad habits off another
That's it.
dog or
Yes.
depend on another dog or whatever? If they know how to do it, let them practice. You know?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we learn things over the years, with these dogs, and I know that you're a good dog man. You wouldn't have had the success that you've had without it. Do you have a young dog right now that you're working?
I sold a female that I had to Barry Whack in Iowa, and then I'm getting ready to start another young female. She's about 6.5 months old, and I'm just waiting for the kitten coons to get out in the corn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, who did I talk to? Somebody. Oh, a fella that's on my podcast this week as we're talking and recording. This recording will be on the Monday before 4th of July is when this will air.
Okay.
But anyway, Darren Allgood over in Indiana, and he was telling me that last night that he must have seen 20 or more kitten coons along the roads as he was going hunting.
Man.
And that's in southern Indiana,
I've not treated myself. I've not treated a litter yet, but now I've talked to some guys this last weekend that treated 2 or 3 litters. They're just really now starting to move here.
Yeah, yeah. It used to kind of really bother me. I came out of West Virginia where coon were scarce, and
Yes.
I went to Michigan to work for UKC in 1983. And in the spring of the year, most of those, I know you've hunted up there, but most
Yes.
of those sections are like a mile square with paved roads all around them. And you could hardly go down any side of that square and not see kitten coons run over on the road.
Man.
And it used to really bother me because I said,
Yeah.
man, a coon was a prize back in the
Yes.
mountains where I came from.
Yeah, I tell people, when I go to Indiana, Illinois, them hunts, I said, I'll see more coons up there in a week across the road than I'll see here in a year.
Isn't that the truth? But you know what? Some of the really good dogs come out of country where coon are not real popular.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if they just have to work harder for them and they learn that tenacity or that drive or that determination or just what it is. But it seemed to me over the years, our breed, my dad was a bear hunter and a somewhat coon hunter, but we always had plot dogs. And
Yes.
I would go to plot days every year. And I'd go out to Flora, Illinois, or somewhere, out that way around where Salem and that area, and man, coons everywhere. My dogs would always look real good,
Yep.
and I'd wonder why these guys that lived in thick coon didn't have better dogs sometimes,
Yeah. I can drive north of me an hour and a half and be in a lot of coons. But I tell my hunting buddy, I feel like, and I feel like I see it in my dogs. If I go up there very often, and then start hunting back down here, it makes my dogs a little lazy because they're used to striking them coons at 100, 200 yards. Where here, usually they're going to have to be, a lot of times a half or better before they ever get struck.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's for sure. And that's where the side-by-side comes in handy for an old man like me. Well, that's you have any plans for the hunts this year? I mean, have you got you gonna hunt Stogie any, or you just?
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt Stogie. I mean, we'll for sure go to nationals, and we'll be at Autumn Oaks, and there'll be quite a few other hunts that we hit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I hate the Shack dog. He's getting up there, as my buddy tells me from West Virginia. He talking about our age. He says, "Steve, we're standing in the checkout line." Yeah. So I know, a dog like Shaq that's been so good to you and all. You hate to see him get old, don't you?
Oh yeah, it makes you sick. I had to clip his toenails. My grandson was here last week, and Shaq's not been out of the pen in a year or longer, probably longer than that, whenever the grandkids wanted to take him before. So I got out here and we clipped his toenails and stuff, and I hunted him last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I bet he loved that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he liked it. He was gone probably about 7 or 8 minutes, and he was 0.62. Yeah, he still goes. But that's the only dump I dumped him. I went and got him, put him back in the truck.
You got to take care of him. I was up at Randy Smith's. It might have been last fall, but he had that. He won the UKC World Hunt in 2016.
Yes,
with a female named Sue, and she hadn't been hunted in 4 or 5 years, I guess. I don't know, but we took her one night up there, and it was emotional, really, to watch Randy listening to her go. And she right away on the snap, she went hunting, got in there pretty deep, got struck, and then when she located, I thought he was going to lose it. These dogs get close to us, don't they?
They do. I think that might be the year that I judged them in the semifinal cast out there. I think it was at maybe Greencastle.
Yeah, it was at Greencastle.
Yeah, I think I judged her in the semifinals that year.
Were you judging the night that I was out on one of her casts because they asked, it was like the final 8, I think, or something like that. And there was a black dog out of Mississippi in the cast, and there was that crow dog, an English dog from Indiana, and then a male walker dog. I can't remember. Would that have been the cast you were on?
Well, the cast I had, we had her and crow, but I was thinking I had an English dog, and it might have been a black dog, but I know that we had crow.
Okay, the black dog, I remember because I said, well, one thing, that's when Steve Esch and him had crow, the crow dog, right? He had won that year. Was that the year he had won at Autumn Oaks or had?
Boy, I was trying to think.
Yeah, but Seth's dad, Steve, was there on the cast, and we had a good visit. And Philip Heron from Mississippi. Well, Philip's black dog was in that cast. It might have been I don't know if it's a male or female, but Philip wasn't hunting it. But it could have been an English dog. I don't know. But if you were in the cast with crow, I'd say that was the cast.
Yeah, we're talking about the English dog crow.
Yes.
Yeah. I judged him against, but
did he get real deep there one time? You had to go into him he was way.
Well, right out of the truck, they struck, and crow got treed in the fence line right there, and I had to minus them on the cast that I judged. So that might have been the year before, or maybe the year after.
Okay, it could have been, because I remember that night the crow dog got in there real deep, and they walked a long way to him in there, and the Sioux female just kind of stayed in that one, pretty much in that woods where we cut them,
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah, the Crow dog too. He was in the finals the year my boy won on a Oaks.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was in the finals of that cast.
Okay, well, that might have been the year I was thinking about. I don't know. That was well, the year that I was out there with Sue was in 2016 because
Yeah,
they had asked me to judge the bench show, and that's why I was out there. And they said, "Well, bring your boots, and we could use you to judge on Thursday night if you'd like to." And I said, "Yeah, it'd be fun." So
yeah,
it's probably the last cast I've judged.
yeah. I
Yeah,
love judging casts that I'm not in. I do not like to judge if I'm in the
right.
cast, but no. But I love to judge good dogs, and I'll judge anytime they need me if they want me to go out and judge a
Yeah,
cast.
the sport
I
needs.
enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that's what the sport needs: guys that know it and enjoy it. You know,
Yeah,
so many times guys are out there just because they get shamed into it. Kind of,
yeah,
and all. They don't really want to be there, and they're
yeah.
but a good coon hunter as a non-hunting judge is the best of all worlds.
Yeah, no,
To me.
I enjoy judging a good cast of dogs and people. But I've always hated to judge a cast that I'm on. I've never liked it.
Right.
But
Well, I can understand that.
but,
Well, I want to ask you here something that well, I'm on the wrong pew here. Let me get back on where I need to be. I wanted to ask you about the worming, that's worm medication that you use. And if
yeah,
I always, excuse me, I kind of wandered away from my mic there. If if we can help somebody on this podcast, that's all. I always want to do that if I
yes,
can. And that's. Let me get okay here. I think I'm finally getting it. All right. You posted back in October last fall that you get a question all the time about where you get your flea and tick medications.
yes,
And you say they come out of Australia,
yes,
and that
yes.
you
They come
save
up.
price. What's the deal on that?
Uh, my wife's the one that found it. Like you get them flea and tick pills here. If you go to the vet, one I think it's a 120 pound pill. They're almost $30, and you can get them over there. I think they're about $12 a pill.
Wow.
o- Over
Well,
there. But now, when you order from there, you got to order a box of them, which is 8 or whatever in a box.
uh huh. Now,
But
how do you go about get? Do you don't have to have any kind of prescription?
no, no,
Okay.
no prescription or nothing. Nope.
Oh, that's what you say here. I'm reading on what you said that you've had no issues since
Nope.
you've been using them. Right. Well, I think it's NexGuard is what the local vet here put. I've only got one dog, and we got a
Yes.
house dog, a little dachshund here, and I I had him on Simparica Trio, but then because of the weight situation, somehow they wanted me to switch over to NexGuard, and that's what I have. I've got an 11-month-old pup that's up in North Carolina with my buddy up there right now.
Yes.
But I'd be definitely interested in. Now, what's the difference in NexGuard and NexGuard Spectra?
Well, one of them, and my wife's a lot smarter on this than I am, but one of them is a 2 month pill, but
Okay.
it does not protect on the Lone Star tip for the full 2 months or 3 months, whatever,
Oh,
however how long it is.
yeah.
For like the last month, well, she asked the vet, would it be all right to give them at 2 months, and they told her no because it's not been tested. Well, the Lone Star ticks that's our main tick, so I just give it every month. That way, I don't have to worry about it.
Well, do you guys get a lot of tick-borne illnesses in your dogs out there, like Ehrlichia and
There's a lot of
Lyme?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's a lot of it around, and I've been very lucky. Stogie's never had it. My Mafia dog never did. Shack's never had none of it. I've been very lucky, but the ticks here are horrible.
Yeah, that part of the world out there seems like it's a tick factory.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's bad, and this year is one of the worst years I've seen.
Well, I'm hearing those rumbles too. I remember one time. I know you knew Roy Tramble
Yes.
with PKC, and we were down one of the hunts down in, I don't know, might have been Walker Days down at DeQuoin, Illinois, or somewhere down there, and we had another hunt down that country coming up. Well, I'd had a couple of young dogs with me doing a little pleasure hunting. And Roy said, well, just leave your dog with me, and you won't have to carry him all the way back to Michigan and all, and you'll be right back down here in a week or two. And I said, well, okay. He said, I got a big lot, that they can run in and stuff.
Yeah.
And his boy brought the dogs to me, and it must have been, we were staying in Florida, but the hunt must have been in Salem. I don't remember. But anyway, those dogs were absolutely covered in ticks. I've never seen, and back then we didn't give the internal tick medicines to the dogs.
Yeah, just sprayed them.
Just stop. Yeah, what was that one called? Something guard. We sprayed them with. I can't remember that one. But man, oh man, I may have told this story on the podcast before, but I went down to the vet and there in Florida and got some spray, and I forget what that was called, something guard. But anyway, I sprayed that dog real good, and I snapped him up to a gate there so his head would be up high so I could spray him all underneath.
Yeah.
And I put him in the dog box, and by the time I got back to the motel, I pulled him out of there, and it looked like marbles rolling around in that dog box. There wasn't any, I didn't have any pad in there. It was just a wooden floor, and I've never seen so many ticks in my life. Man, that's a nasty thing. I'm going to have to ask the good Lord if I make it to heaven. Why in the world did He create something like that?
I know it. I know. We try to here. We try to spray our dogs down before we turn them loose with permethrin or something. Even though we got them on flea and tick pill, we'll still try to spray them down before we hunt.
Yeah. Do you use that permethrin or?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well, I think that's what the military uses, and so forth. So, yeah. Well, and the dogs are one thing, but we can get those diseases too,
Yes, we can. Yes.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
No.
Well, okay. You and I pretty well shined this tree. We're talking about your dogs and all of that. What are your you're 52 years old.
Yes, sir.
You have some children. I saw that terrific picture of you and your wife with the grandkids and all that.
Yes.
Looked like about 6 or 7 kids there.
I've got 7 grandkids.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Are any of them showing any indication of wanting to hunt?
Oh, yes. All the boys would hunt a lot, but they're so busy in ball right now.
Yeah.
Football, baseball. We leave for Colorado the week after the 4th to go to baseball tournament.
Oh, that's good. That's my game. I love baseball. My wife and I both do.
Yes,
Yeah.
They like to pleasure hunt and coon hunt, but they're just so busy right now they don't get to do it much.
They got so many things pulling them one way and the other. That's for sure. Well, in your town that you live in, is it a pretty good place to raise kids?
Yes, it's a small town. Most of it's farm.
Yeah.
All farming and stuff. But yes, it's a real good place.
Mm-hmm. Do you farm too?
We have a few head of cattle and stuff, but no, we're nothing big. But we do have a few head of cattle and stuff. Yes.
Yeah. Can you cut a dog loose right there on your place?
Yes, I got those. Within 5-10 miles of me, there's 10 to 15 spots I can hunt.
Yeah, well,
You know, right
good.
here. We got a lot of hunting, and right here around me, you know, it's rolling hills and a little rougher, but a lot of our stuff are the mile sections,
Mm-hmm.
so you can get around. Now you get over west and the pecan bottoms and stuff, which you can ride the side by sides in there. When you cut them, you're gonna go get them.
Yeah, I imagine. Do you have any corn?
North of me, you go
Oh,
north of me
okay.
an hour, and it's just like hunting in Illinois.
I
Well,
see. You said
we
that
really got
before. Yeah.
bigger timber than they got, but we got all the corn, the beans, the milo,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, do you do any other? Do you deer hunt?
Very little now. My
Yeah.
boy, he's ate up with deer hunting. You know, I go, but anymore, it's more just to go sit with one of the grandkids.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah. I was talking to my buddy Nubbin Moore over there in Alabama. Nubbin's 83, I think, or something like that. He'd been keeping granddaughter, 6 years old, all week. He said, she has
Yeah.
wore me out. He said, I've played hide and seek every day. I've gone fishing. I've done everything you can imagine, you know. And I said, well, that's why they say, you know, babies are for young people. They're
I
not.
mean, yeah, my grandkids, they still think I need to get out in the yard and pitch. I was telling my wife, I probably threw 150 pitches with a wiffle ball the other night
Oh,
to them
man.
boys. I was wore out.
I bet you. I bet you. Well, there's nothing like them, you know.
No, there's nothing no
Yeah,
better.
we have some here in Florida, some in New Jersey, and one in northern Illinois up there, and don't get to see them. Well, we got two right here, local, that we
Yes.
get to see. But yeah, well, I tell you what, Cheyenne, we've eaten up about 57 minutes here. That's
Okay.
almost an hour. Uh, what do you think about coon hunting, where it's been and where it's going, and what do you think our
You,
chances
you,
are for this thing to go on a while?
I think it's going to go on for a while. You know, a lot of people you hear them talk. There's not as many hunters and stuff. I tell everybody, I think there's as many hunters as there's ever been. There's just a lot more hunts.
Yeah,
You know, I can go to like right here, which I'm lucky and I'm glad we got them. I can go to a hunt any night of the week other than Sunday, pretty much within an hour of my house, 6 nights a
yeah.
week. You know, and I said used to when I was younger, there's only 3 or 4 big hunts
Hmm.
a year, so everybody
Yeah,
saved their vacations up and stuff to go to them.
yeah,
So you seen everybody. I said, I don't think coon hunting's dying, and we just got so many
right.
hunts that not as
Yeah.
many people have at them, but they're at more of them.
Well, I think you're exactly right on that. And, they're over here in the southeast, the deer hunting situation and what we commonly call urban sprawl, these big cities move.
Yes,
You know, I'm 30 miles north of Tampa, St. Pete, and it's just growing like crazy. I mean, it used to always be cattle ranches and orange groves in
yeah,
Central Florida. And when I was there in college in the late '60s, that's all it was. And now it's just everywhere you look, they're building. You
and
know.
that's kind of how it is in southern Arkansas. You know,
Mm.
you can't even hardly tell when you leave one town and start a new one.
Oh, I
They're just
imagine.
they've built right into each other.
Sure. Well, we go over there to the White River every year.
Yes,
Have you hunted that at all?
yes, I have.
Yeah, yeah. And every year I get older, and it gets, I say, well, I don't know if I'm going to go this year or not. But I do love going over there, and we spend a week, and we got a good group of guys, and we tell a lot of lies and eat way too much food,
Yes,
and have a good time with it. And those big woods are really pretty amazing. I just
yeah,
like to get out there in those big woods, and
yeah. It's that's an unreal place to go.
yeah, yeah, it's different. There's really no worries about your dogs. I think I've heard I've been going I think about 15 years now, and I heard of one dog getting shot out there one time. But
Yeah,
and the highways are not a problem,
yeah.
at least For us, it hasn't been. But well, do you have a place that you go or travel, a camp, coon hunting camp, or anything that you go to?
No. I usually just go with guys. Like when we go down there, we'll meet up different every time I go. But we go a lot up north. I got a hunting buddy. We'll go up north usually quite a few weekends a year
Okay.
and hunt with people.
Now, would you be going up around the Kansas City area?
Yeah, well, even north of up around La Plata where they have the Bear Creek and stuff.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I let's see. The only time I went, I don't know if you knew the fellow named Jim Cannon that lived there just south of Kansas City.
I knew the name.
Yeah,
yes.
he won the UKC World Hunt with a plot one time. The only one to ever do that.
The sizzling heat.
Yes, exactly. Uh-huh.
Yep.
And I hunted with him a night or two. I was up there visiting the Garmin facility when we got Garmin involved in coon hunting, and
Yes.
I was with the AKC at that time, and I went out there and all, and he had some good hunting around there where he was. But
Yeah, there's some good hunting there. And when I go up north, on the weekend and stuff where there's a lot of coon, it's about halfway between here and Kansas City.
oh, okay. Mhm. But
Yeah,
it's north. Anyway.
Yes, it's north of me, yes.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I don't know. I've talked to several hunters on this podcast, and I find ones that I talked to a boy over in North Carolina recently, and he said, if they did away with the hunts today, I'd be out there tonight hunting because
Yes.
I love it, And
Yes.
that's always the way it was with me. Is that your case
That,
too?
yes, I was coon hunting away before I ever got in the hunts. I like to hunt young dogs. I like to coon hunt. I'm going to coon hunt.
Yeah. Well, Shy, I've heard so much about you. And of course, we'd met before and all, but I have really enjoyed this opportunity to talk to you and
Thank you very much.
talk about your dogs. And I see why you've got the good reputation that you do. And that's what our sport needs, especially these young folks. If they listen to these podcasts and take, something home with them that,
Yes.
there'll always be another night hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Some people fall into the trap. If I don't win this hunt tonight, it's the end of the world. And so I'm going to, show my backside or whatever
Yes.
here. And it's not worth it,
There's nothing worth arguing on a cast. I said, coon hunting's pretty simple. If you just let the dogs do the work, and you're going to win some, you're going to lose more than you win. If you can accept that, you'll get along just fine.
Boy, that's the truth. I would definitely agree with you from that aspect. I've kind of been a guy that worked on the, behind the desk at all these hunts all those years. But when I was home, I was out with my dogs every chance I got, and
Yes.
and because I love it, I guess. But
Yep.
yeah. Well, I want to take the opportunity to wish you and your lovely family a great 4th of July. That's coming
Thank
up.
you.
Will be
You too.
just 2 or 3 days after this podcast airs, and I always look forward to that holiday. I love this country, and I respect and appreciate the people that died to give us the
Yes, sir.
freedom to do what we do.
Yep.
For sure. Cheyenne Cummings from Seneca, Missouri, a name that's known very well across the coon hunting world. It's been my sincere pleasure to have you on the podcast today, Cheyenne.
Thank you very much. It's nice talking to you.
Oh, it's been great. And you take care, my friend.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, folks, that's going to wrap it up for the Gone to the Dogs podcast for another week. As I said, this is coming out right before Independence Day, the great country that we all love and appreciate, and is having a birthday. So get out there and enjoy it with your friends. Until next time, this is Steve Fielder. If you can't find me, I'll give you a hint. I'll be gone to the dogs.